All right, it's 4:30. I call the Finance Committee to order. Roll call, let it be stated that Member Salner is absent. We have a quorum. On to item 2, consent agenda. Motion to approve the consent agenda, including the minutes of the January 3rd, 2024 regular meeting, and item B, recommended approval of bills and transfers in the amount of $1,105,853.10. Is there a motion? Motion by Rogel, second by Vice Chair Lehman. Any questions, discussions? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the minutes and approval of the bills signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, none. Item number 3, appearance by members of the public and county employees. Are there any?
We've had no requests for the public or employees to speak this evening.
Thank you, Administrator. Okay, on to item 4, departmental matters. Becky McNeil, County Treasurer. I yield the floor to you.
Good evening. The first report you have is our summary of tax revenue for the month of January, and I really don't like to present this report because there's just not a whole lot to compare to, and it's the very first month of the year. And just looking at January, our overall revenue was $1,749,000, and compared to $1,910,000 last year. The biggest change was with PPRT. PPRT, I indicated to you last year that the disbursements were changing, that they were expecting those disbursements to drop quite a bit. So it is something that we've been expecting. So again, the year-to-date comparison, just for the 1 month, we are 161,000 below January of 2023. And looking at budget, we look at 12 months, we are actually ahead by 56,000. So that's a nice way to start out the year. The shared sales tax revenue that we received from the town of Normal and the city of Bloomington for the month of January, those vouchers receipts were $430,704 compared to $427,181. In the next couple months, a lot of these sources of revenue to the county, even though I'm reporting what we're receiving this month here in January, by governmental accounting standards, a lot of that revenue actually goes back into the prior year. So over the course of February or March and April, I'll actually be recapping a little bit of the prior year so you can see the final revenue numbers as we get those reports from the state of Illinois here in February and in March, and we get our accrual work finalized for audit. So just wanted to let you know that even though these are numbers that are for January that we received, the revenue goes back to the prior year by accrual. Property tax revenue, obviously, we do not have any property tax revenue. Our levy budgeted $46,125,155. Our tax bill should go out in April. Hopefully, it will be a rolling extension to me. The clerk will be during the month of April as well. And then motor fuel tax. Motor fuel tax received $366,580 during the month of January, and township motor fuel received $302,318. Again, this is another source of revenue to the county that actually gets backed into the prior year. Any questions on that? More to come. The next report is the cash and investment report. And I was not able to attend the January meeting, but you can see that during the month of December, we did a lot of investing. And what we did, we went out into a lot of the smaller banks where when rates hit rock bottom, we were just cashing out CDs. And a lot of these smaller banks, they hold collector accounts. And so at the end of the year, I wanted to get money back into those banks because they do a huge service for the county and they don't charge us for the taxpayers that go to those banks and collect property taxes or pay their property taxes, and then they transmit those to us. But also, most of those were really phenomenal rates in the 4 and 5%. We had several treasuries mature during the month of January. So we're just going to continue to watch what happens with our treasuries. At the end of January, our overall cash and investments were $124 million. Any questions on this report? The payroll account at the bottom of page 1 there, it shows negative 146,388. That was simply a timing issue because of how we issue checks and then we make those deposits the following day. So it's just a timing issue, nothing to be concerned about. The next report is the 2023 Blue Cross Blue Shield report. The January reports did not include a Blue Cross Blue Shield report because I think that was like January 3rd or something like that. It was just way too early for us to get our December numbers. So going back and looking at all of 2023, which includes obviously December, our expenses were $6,667,411.82. And of course, again, this is our self-insured insurance plan. Compared to the prior year, we were about $70,896.27. This is another area where we have a lot of accrual work to do during the month of March. I will get a report from Blue Cross Blue Shield that will give me IBNR, which is incurred but not reported, and all those numbers will shift back into 2023. So while this looks good right now, I do expect it to change. And then, of course, we got the January numbers, and I really have no explanation right now for why that January number is super high. We are just kind of, it's a little early in the month when we prepared this to get the details on that, but we'll be back with that number. So, but you can see why, obviously, 612,000 compared to 355 the year prior. And then we have the next report is the nursing home report. And this is really your first glance at the nursing home as of 12/31. And again, this is a report where due to a lot of the accrual work that we have to do, these numbers will continue to change. But at the end of December, right now, we have revenue at $11,788,955, and we've got expenses. Of course, these numbers include the transfers that have been booked as of so far. So revenues and transfers, $11,788,000, and expenses and transfers out, $11,899,000. So we have a negative $110,414. The receivable at the end of December, $4,454,000. Cash at the end of December, negative $852,545. And fund equity at the end of December, $1,240,856. Again, a lot of numbers are still going to change. There's just a lot of entries that have to occur yet in February and March. And then we start audit during the month of April. Any questions?
Yep.
This is not my favorite time of the year, working in 2 different fiscal years. But it's a challenge, and the staff, they do an amazing job sorting through all of that. So.
Thank you, Becky McNeil. Any other questions from the committee? Third time charm. Okay, we need a motion to file this report. Motion to file and place the county's Treasurer's Monthly Financial Statement. Is there a motion? Motion by Roseman, second by Rogel. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Thank you. On to item 4B, Marshall Thompson, Director of Animal Control.
Good evening.
Yep.
I'm enjoying this beautiful weather. I am noticing more wildlife activity, so we'll see if that brings a little bit more activity earlier in the year. We've had a good January, but echoing, also collecting the remainder of the 2023 revenue and getting all that tied up. So that should be done here pretty soon for our program. We also had we're invited to the Wishbone Canine Rescue Low-Cost Vaccination Clinic. Was really well on the 13th of January. So we went there and collected rabies registration and met with a lot of really nice people and got to meet and greet a lot of new dogs and cats. So that was a real fun event for our program. And we also hosted an adoption event at Tractor Supply Company in Bloomington on January 27th. And we were able to get a puppy and several cats adopted from that event as well. And Tractor Supply encourages us to continue to come back, which we're going to plan a lot more events coming up in the year, trying to get the calendar all worked out. So those are all a lot of fun and engaging with the community. And then we're also looking at a potential walk in the park. We were adopted to at Miller Park on April 20th, but I'll have to get back on the date. So I'll get the year calendar pulled together and try to have that for us next time when we come to the next Finance Committee meeting. But everything's going really well, and Animal Control's doing a great job. Staff's working really hard, and can't echo enough how much they, do a really good job, take care of the animals in the community. Does anybody have any questions about our report? No questions.
Nope. Hearing none. No questions? Thank you for your dedication to the animals in this community. I appreciate that.
Thank you. I'll make sure to tell staff. Thanks.
Yeah, yes.
I couldn't do it without them. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
they work so hard.
I know wearing my farmer hat out on the farm, it's calving season, that January, February. So I'm like, how does this play into the animals that you deal with? Anyway, thank you again. Okay, we've had a couple vacancies. So if it's okay with committee, I'm going to hand it off to Administrator Taylor. Is that okay with you?
Certainly.
Thank you. Items 4C, D, E, you just keep rolling.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so 4C1A is an item presented for action on behalf of our auditor, Michelle Anderson. It is a request approval of an ordinance of the McLean County Board amending the 2023 Combined Annual Budget and Appropriation Ordinance.
Is there a motion by the committee to place on file? Motion by Vice Chair Lehman. Is there a second? Member Erickson. Okay, it's on the floor.
So this is to reduce the encumbrances for fiscal year 2023. These are our purchase orders for projects that are in process that we want to carry over into 2024. And so this is to take them out of fiscal year 2023. And then the next action item will be to put them in 2024.
Any questions? Kind of boilerplate. We do this every year, correct?
That is correct.
Any questions or comment? Got a motion and a second. So request the approval of ordinance of the McLean County Board amending the 2023 Combined Annual Budget and Appropriation Ordinance. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. On to 2.
The next item is 4C1B, request approval of an ordinance of the McLean County Board amending the 2024 Combined Annual Budget and Appropriation Ordinance.
Is there a motion by this committee to bring it to action? Motion by Natalie Roseman Mendoza. Is there a second? Second by Vice Chair Lehman. Very good. We have a motion and a second, and it's back to
As I stated previously, this is moving those items, same items from the previous action item into fiscal year 2024.
Any question, comments, or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying, request approval of ordinance of the McLean County Board amending the 2024 annual combined budget and appropriation ordinance signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we're done with 4C. May continue on to 4D or comments.
Certainly. County Clerk Kathy Michael could not be here this evening. It is the start of early voting, and the elections team is in preparation for that. She has no items to present for action. You do have her monthly reports on pages 10 through 20.
Any questions? Okay.
Next item is E. Mr. Jorzak, Supervisor of Assessment, couldn't be here tonight. He does not have any items to present to the committee this evening.
Does this committee have any questions? Hearing none. Okay. On to item 4F.
Next up, 4-1A is request approval of an emergency appropriation ordinance amending the McLean County fiscal year 2023 combined annual appropriation and budget ordinance for funds 0130 and 0131.
Is there a motion to bring this before the board committee? Motion by Rogel, seconded by Roseman. Okay.
This is an end of year task to close out the general ledgers for the end of the year.
Any questions or comments, concerns, discussion? Hearing none. Item 4F1A, request approval of an emergency appropriation ordinance amending the McLean County fiscal year 2023 combined annual appropriation and budget ordinance funds 0130 and 0131. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next up is F1B, request approval of an ordinance transferring monies from the County General Fund 0001 to the Children's Advocacy Center Fund 0129, the Court Security Fund 0141, the IDPA 4D Fund 0156, and the Tort Judgment Fund 0135 for fiscal year 2024.
Is there a motion by this committee to bring it up for action? Motion by Vice Chair Lehman, second by Roseman Mendoza, member. Okay.
This action item is referencing transfer monies so that these funds that we identified in this ordinance would have transfer funds available from the treasurer prior to the first distribution of the tax in June.
Any questions or comments, discussion? Hearing none. Item 4F1B, request approval of an ordinance transfer monies from the County General Fund 001 to the Children Advocacy Center Fund -0129 and Court Security Fund 0141 and the IDPA 5-D Fund 0156 and the Tort Judgment Fund 0135 for fiscal year 2024. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. On to next item.
Thank you. 41C is request approval of an ordinance transferring monies from the Health Department Fund 0112 to the Persons with Developmental Disabilities Fund 0110 for fiscal year 2024.
Does committee like to bring this for action? Is there a motion? Motion by member Rogel, second by Roseman Mendoza. Okay, we're up for discussion or comments.
This is the same process, but is related to health department funds. These are transfers.
Questions or comments? Hearing none. Item 4F1C, request approval of the ordinance transferring monies from the Health Department Fund 0112 to the Persons with Developmental Disability Fund 0110 for fiscal year 2024. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next up is F1D, request approval of a resolution transferring monies from the Working Cash Fund 0002 to the FICA Social Security Fund 0130 for fiscal year 2024.
Is there a motion by the committee to bring this item up for action? Is there a motion? Motion by Vice Chair Lehman, second. Member Roseman Mendoza. Okay, discussion.
This again is a transfer so that we have adequate funds in our FICA and Social Security Fund for the beginning of 2024.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none. Item 4F-D, request approval of a resolution transferring monies from the Working Cash Fund 002 to the FICA Social Security Fund 0130 for fiscal year 2024. All those in favor of this action item signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next up is F1E, request approval of a resolution transferring monies from the County General Fund 0001 to the Nursing Home Fund 0401 for fiscal year 2024.
Is there a motion from this committee to bring this action item up for discussion? Motion by Vice Chair Lehman, second by Rogel.
Again, this is a similar transfer from Fund 0001 to the Nursing Home Fund.
Any questions or comments, discussion? Hearing none. Item 4F1E, request approval of a resolution transferring monies from the County General Fund 0001 to the Nursing Home Fund 0401 fiscal year 2024. All those in favor of this action item signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Action item carries unanimously.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Last action item for this evening is F1F, request approval for proposed insurance program for policy year 2024.
Is there a request by this committee to bring this item up for action? Motion by Vice Chair Lehman, second by Rogel.
You do have documents before you. I am going to ask that I enlist the help of Trevor Sierra for this description of this action item, as he was the lead in working with Gallagher to secure these funds, or these numbers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think you all received the memo just summarizing the changes from last year to this year. It's all within budget. We had estimated about a 10% increase, and I think it ended up being about a 9.5% increase in rates. The map that I handed out before the meeting began was provided by Gallagher to help explain some of the increases that are occurring in the premium rates. You can see that there have been a number of, I think there are 28 separate billion-dollar weather and climate disasters last year. So those losses are part of the increase in premiums. There were decreases on two of our policies, one being the cyber insurance, and part of that it can be attributed to IT putting in place better security controls. And then we also learned that the cyber insurance market has evolved quite a bit since we last had to renew our policies. There are more providers, more competition in that market. So that's part of why those premiums went down. So the overall coverage will remain the same under the proposed plan. If you have any questions, I'm happy to address those.
Questions from this committee? A lot of money. Insurance is important. Was there other bids? Did other insurance providers seek out bids for this package?
So Gallagher is our broker, and they're the only broker that we used. They did get estimates from a number of carriers, and then they put forth kind of the best proposals in their estimation. I should have noted that the fee for Gallagher is a little under $30,000, which is consistent with what it's been in past years.
Questions or comments from committee? Okay. Very good. Thank you for your work on this project. Okay. Hearing no questions or comments, item 4F1F, request approval of the proposed insurance program for policy year 2024. All those in favor of this signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay.
I have no other items for information. Nothing else to report to the committee tonight.
Thank you, Administrator Taylor. Item 5, other business and communications, other business and communication. Next meeting is Wednesday, March 6, 2024. Hope to see you all there, and this meeting's adjourned. Thank you.